Hi everyone, welcome back to the next diecast. In today's video, I'll be unboxing and reviewing this 1/24 scale 1970 Dodge Charger from the Fast and Furious franchise, made by Jada Toys. I got this recently as a gift from my friend Matt, so thank you, Matt. This is a really cool car. It's actually the first Fast and Furious diecast I've added to my 1/24 scale collection, so I'm excited about that for sure. This is made by Jada Toys, as I said. And you can find this particular model along with several other Fast and Furious models in 1/24 scale from Jada, as you'll see back here, in several different stores and online sites. Amazon and eBay, of course, have these, and you can find them also in brick and mortar stores such as Walmart and Target, which is where Matt got my model from. So as you can see, you have Fast and Furious on the box, and then of course a picture of Vin Diesel on the bottom there. You have the F9 sticker, because this is how this particular car appeared in F9. You had those wheels and those tires on it. And then you have Dom's 1970 Dodge Charger down here, diecast 8+. Then you got more Fast and Furious logos and stuff on the side here. And the back of the box has the other cars you can find that Jada Toys makes from the movie in their 1/24 scale line. Jada Toys is the primary, I guess, model manufacturer for vehicles from the Fast and Furious franchise. They've made models in 1/32 scale, 1/64 scale, even as small as like 1/87-ish scale, 1/24, 1/18. Pretty much, I guess they're like their primary licensee, Jada Toys, for the Fast and Furious franchise. And yeah, there is some like Hot Wheels cars from the series, but in terms of more larger scale models and more detailed models, Jada Toys will be kind of the primary manufacturer for cars from that franchise. So just to keep that in mind there. And then on the bottom here, you have the various automotive company logos that Jada uses to make models from. And then you have other information and stuff down there as well. So we'll go ahead and get this Charger out of the box. We'll open it up from the side, right over here, as soon as we get that tape off. I got the tape cut. Now we'll go ahead and pull out the model. I got the model pulled out. It's actually on kind of this interesting three-sided cardboard base. So you don't have anything on this side, which is where the window flap is. But on this side, you have kind of that plastic piece holding in the back of the car. And then you have kind of the cardboard on the bottom, back, and on this side. So it looks like there's a couple screws holding it down on the base. So we'll go ahead and get this model off the base and then get all these different straps and stickers off. All right, we got the model off the base. Now we just got to get all these different straps off. All right, let's get these straps off. I did already cut them from the bottom, so see if we can pull it out. It's going to be difficult, I guess. There we go. All right, there's the model out of the box and all the straps off. Looks super cool. Of course, you got the opening rear trunk, opening doors, and the removable hood, it looks like. Looks awesome. All right, let's take a closer look at this 1970 Dodge Charger by Jada Toys. This is probably the most iconic vehicle that's been featured in the Fast and Furious franchise. This is modeled after the way the car looks in the 9th film. And of course, Dom, who's one of the main characters of the film franchise, is the owner and driver of this particular car. Jada Toys makes this particular model in various scales. You, of course, have the 1/24 scale version that you see here. There's also a 1/32 scale version, and I believe a couple of other smaller scale versions too. When it comes to models of Fast and Furious cars, Jada Toys offers a wide variety of different models and different scales of cars from that franchise, which is pretty cool to see. As far as the Charger goes, this is the biggest model that Jada Toys makes of it. And I think Jada Toys does a decent job with it for the most part. There are a few flaws here and there that are kind of typical of models made by Jada, but I'll kind of get to that as we go throughout the review here. So we'll go ahead and get into the details of the model. We'll start up here with the front of the model. I think this is actually my favorite angle of this particular car because you can kind of see, you know, the iconic Coke bottle shape of the car as well as the engine kind of sticking out there and just the overall awesome looking front end as well. But I think in terms of overall look and shape, Jada Toys does a good job with this model. It is a bit on the overscaled side, but that is pretty much how Jada Toys makes their models. A lot of their 124 scale models are closer to probably 123rd or even 122nd scale. And their 118th scale models tend to be closer to 117th or 116th scale. But I don't think that's a big deal, but I think when you do plan on putting this model next to other 124 scale models, you might see a bit of a size difference. If you have other models by Jada Toys, you won't really see that difference, but if you have other 124 scale models by, let's say, Maisto or Virago or one of those other brands, you might see some differences in terms of scale and everything. That's just something to keep in mind though. But in the front here, I think Jada Toys does a good job with the look and shape of the Charger. You can see it has the Charger 500 badge right there. And then you have that iconic kind of very large grille right there too. The headlights are of course hidden, just like you would see on the real vehicle. Now there's no perforations or anything with this front grille here, but this is just a 124 scale car, so you won't have that level of detailing. But I think in general, the look of the front looks very well done. And then of course you have that nice chrome trim going across the entire front end there. And then you have these lower lights down here as well. They are unfortunately just painted on, but they're so small that making them as separately cast plastic pieces would, I think, be a bit too difficult for them to do for the price point. The paint quality on the model, I would say, is very well done. You just have kind of that nice, smooth, glossy black finish throughout. I think Jada Toys definitely has improved on paint quality in recent years. If you were to look at some of the models they were making close to a decade ago, there were definitely some paint flaws throughout. You would have, you know, some like rough areas and even some fading and whatnot. But for this particular model, nice and shiny and nice and smooth throughout. There's a couple of very minor scuffs up here. I think that was probably just from like the packaging or something like that. But I think they did a good job in that sense. They did a decent job with these wheels here. They are all chrome, and there isn't a whole lot of detail with those very small spokes or anything, but they will be kind of, I think, hard to replicate as actual spokes due to the scale of the model. And then you have the MH inscription on these tires. Not really too sure what that means. Perhaps those of you who have seen the movie can say what they are in the comments or something, but I think at least the overall proportions of the wheels are pretty well done. You have the massive rear wheels and rear tires back here, and these smaller front wheels and tires, just like you would see on the real car. And then, of course, you have kind of that deep dish rim look for the rear wheels, which I think Jada Toys does a good job with. Not so much on like the fine detailing side, but I think in terms of overall looks, the wheels do look pretty well done on the model. And then continuing on the side of the model, I think they also do a good job with the side mirror on here. It is done in chrome, and it's actually very sturdy. A lot of mirrors on Jada Toys models that I've seen have kind of this like weird like rubbery feeling to them, and they bend around too much. But on here, you actually have a true sort of hard plastic mirror that does seem very sturdy. So that's nice to see. And then back here, you'll see the nicely detailed fuel filler cap, which is done in silver. And it does have the overall right look and texture to it too. And it does look cool. And back here, you will see the iconic taillights of the Charger. Unfortunately, Jada Toys just kind of paints these taillights on back here. They definitely could have done these, I think, as separately cast plastic pieces because they're so large. I think they do look okay from a distance as far as that goes, but once you get closer, you can kind of see that they're just kind of painted on as just solid red pieces. They don't really have any kind of like translucent look to them or anything like you would see for real taillights. So that is kind of unfortunate, but at least they do the overall right look and shape of the taillights in general. And then you have the F9 license plate down there, and then you have that nice chrome bumper back here as well, which is a nice touch. In terms of opening features, you do actually have an opening trunk. Kind of unusual for a 124 scale model to have an opening rear trunk, but Jada Toys has been kind of doing that since they've been making models, so I think that's a nice little bonus if you do get models from them in this scale. But in terms of trunk detailing, there isn't really a whole lot to see in the trunk here. You just have kind of that plain black trunk pan going on there. It has kind of a bit of a glossy texture to the plastic. I wish they kind of maybe made it like a rougher texture to simulate carpeting perhaps, but at least the trunk opens to begin with. A lot of 124 scale models you can find today don't have the opening rear trunks. I mean, some brands are even just doing opening doors and not doing hoods and trunks. Whereas for Jada Toys, they haven't really ditched that yet. They're still doing opening doors, hoods, and trunks on all their 124 scale models. So I think that's really cool to still be seeing that from them. That's really all there is to see back here as far as the trunk goes. And of course, you do have an opening hood on the model as well. In the case of this model's hood, it actually comes completely off, like you would see for the car in the film series. So to take it off, you just kind of pop it off, like so. And there's 4 tabs that hold it in place, which is pretty cool. So you can put it up on your shelf like that, and then you can get a closer look at the engine detailing. I think Jada Toys does a decent job with the engine detailing in here as far as a 124 scale model goes. There is a lot of chrome, and at least as far as the movie car goes, there wouldn't be this much chrome in there. Of course, this part, we all know, is supposed to be chrome, and then you have kind of the red portion in the front there. Oh, it says BDS in the front. I did not even see that before. So that's a cool touch there. And you can see that for some of the pulleys and everything, like this would not be chrome, it would be black. But the main engine block would actually be chrome like you would see in the film, but you would definitely see some more, red and black and other kind of different colors in there. But I think as far as the basic shape and detailing goes, Jada Toys does do a good job. It would have been nice to kind of see some more fine detailing in terms of colors and whatnot. And it is just one single 3D piece, but I think they do a decent job with it nonetheless. You have kind of the radiator detailing right there, and then you have other parts like the battery and whatnot too. But aside from that, there really is not too much to see there. You have this portion right here, which is actually made of metal. I thought it was a separately cast plastic piece, but they do indeed put this in as a metal piece here. I think you would see some more components underneath this metal piece if this were the real vehicle. You don't really see that there, but aside from that, though, I think they do a decent job, at least with this engine for a 1/24 scale car. So to put the hood back on, you really just have to kind of line it up with the tabs and then sort of push it back in place like that. Now, it will fall off like that if you turn the model upside down, but you're not really going to be doing that, I suppose. But just keep in mind that it is just kind of a loose-fitting piece on there. It does fit nice and flush with the rest of the car's body, but in terms of it staying on, you're going to want to keep it like this, or else if you turn it like sideways and whatnot, the hood might fall off and you might risk, scratching it up and stuff. So it doesn't click into place, but it does fit well into place, I suppose. So that's just something to keep in mind right there. And then, of course, you do have the opening doors on the model as well. They open up nice and wide on dogleg hinges, which is nice to see. And then you can see some detailing on the interior here. Of course, you have kind of the standard rear bench seat that you would see on the Dodge Charger. I think Jada Toys does a decent job with the look and texture of that seat back here. And then, of course, you have the modified front seats that Dom has put in. There should be some more detailing on here. They're kind of way too flat, I think. They are black like they should be, but I guess the overall shape is somewhat decent. But aside from that, though, there isn't really too much fine detailing to see on these front seats. The overall just general shape, I think, is for the most part accurate. But aside from that, though, I think some more fine detailing definitely would have been welcome there. But again, this is a 1/24 scale model, so some fine detailing won't be present in that sense. And if this were made in 1/18 scale, it would be identical to the 1/24 scale version, which would not be that great because you would expect a lot more detailing between 1/18 and 1/24 scale. But this is just available in 1/24 scale in terms of larger scale versions. So I think the details as a whole do fit well with other 1/24 scale models in general. But definitely some more fine detailing I think would have been welcome. Taking a look next at the door panels, there really is not a whole lot to see in terms of detailing or fine detailing. It does have the right overall shape and texture and everything. You have kind of all those lines going across that you would see on the real car. And then you have more of those vents kind of down there as well. And then taking a look at the dashboard, again, not really too much to really see there. Jada Toys does mold in the radio and everything in the center there, but you don't really have like fine detailing in terms of painted on buttons and whatnot, but at least the overall shape of the dashboard is accurate for the most part. And then you have the shifter down here, which is done in a separately cast chrome piece. And then, of course, you have the pedals down there as well. The pedals do look a bit cheap because they're just kind of all mounted on that like chrome stick looking thing. The pedals aren't separately mounted to the floor or above the steering wheel. They're just kind of all stuck in place on that one piece of chrome there. But when you look at the model from this angle, you can't really see that. It does seem like the pedals are separately cast plastic pieces. And the steering wheel, I think, is a bit on the smaller side, but at least it is the right shape and everything. But again, I think some more fine detailing would have been welcome right there. But you can't really ask for too much for a 1/24 scale car. And then you do have the gauges back there as well. Not too much detailing to really see on those, unfortunately. If you're a fan of the Fast and Furious franchise, I think this would be a good model to add to your collection. There are definitely some missed details and everything on it, but I think in general, the model is pretty well done. And I think Jada has improved at least somewhat on their quality. If you take a look at their models from a decade ago compared to their models of today. If you're a fan of the Fast and Furious series or of muscle cars or of the Dodge Charger in general, I think this would be a good addition to your collection. So feel free to comment down below with your thoughts on the model here. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.